Is the intro playing or just let me know when we're going?
Are you ready to get showcased?
Yeah, he don't work that fucking.
And I don't want you to forgive me when I tell you all the bad things. And I don't want
Fucking
you
guy,
to
yeah, I
believe
know
me
he
when I
was
tell you
fucking.
any good.
Welcome everybody to another live edition of the Showcase Pod. I am Don Vega in the studio, joined by 70% owner of Showcase Pro Wrestling, Chris Blackheart. Are you there, Chris Blackheart?
Yes, we're there. We are 100% here. You are 0 here. We have our awesome guests in the house.
Yeah, don't blow up before we do the intros. You're coming off the racks from a huge show in Franklin. Great night for me. I don't know about you, but
We'll get there. We have the results. We'll go over what happened. Big announcements coming out of Franklin.
definitely a great night. Yep, great announcements coming out of Franklin. I mean, I know I'll be there. I don't know about you, but with that being said, we do have a guest live in studio this week. He is a former star here in Showcase Pro Wrestling and in the independent ranks here in New England. GAOsirus, are you in the studio?
I'm in the studio. What's going on?
What's going on? Pleasure having you. And we're going to get in depth with Osiris here in a moment through the life and times of his story here in pro wrestling. And we'll get into that here shortly. Chris Blackheart, what's going on with you?
No, we're just coming off a high, literally off from the weekend. We had a great fundraiser for the Bellingham Youth Football and Cheer in Franklin. Good card, good talent. We saw GA. It was good. It was almost like a reunion. We had a lot of older talent there. Sean Canita was the oldest guy in the locker room, which was kind of cool. And, we literally always say you never know who's going to come through that door or come through that locker room. And between yourself, we had Mr. Thornhill, we had Jason Blade. It was good. Did we forget anyone? Was there one more?
I mean, as far as the older guys go, I feel like that would be it.
It was just good. I mean, and ironically, half of these guys we haven't shared a locker room in 5, 10, some days 20 years.
Yeah.
But the fact that wrestling as community comes together, some people forget it doesn't matter the time that passed. The community is there.
It's true.
And I think some days I saw a post today about somebody complaining about leaving the wrestling business and no one reaches out to them and they're isolated. Sometimes people cause it on themselves. And I think if anything, some days we don't know what other guys and gals are going through.
Very true.
So, I said it this week. There was some of the guys going through some stuff, personal stuff. I say, you're not alone. We're always here.
Yeah.
But
you've said that multiple times.
Yeah. People don't believe me. It's like, so that person who was in New Bedford, they had that comment. If you need something, reach out.
I mean, it is what it is. A lot of people are going through a lot of different stages and things, and we do know that, it's cliche, but they say that wrestling business doesn't owe us anything. We choose it. It doesn't choose us. But at the same time, you do meet people along the way that, for whatever reason, you click, become friends, and it's kind of shady that the moment that you're not there anymore, they don't reach out to you, and it's like they don't care about you because you can't do nothing for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's his point that he was trying to get across. But speaking of that, and getting into all that and more here tonight, GAOsirus, I'd like to start off by asking, how do you get bitten by the wrestling bug?
Yeah, I grew up loving wrestling. As far as how I got bitten by the bug, I would have to say between my dad, my uncle Doc Ozone, and I have another uncle Os. All of them were into wrestling. My dad was a huge Tony Atlas fan. I remember my uncle Os, he had posters of the Road Warriors and Macho Man up in his room. And once I once I became old enough to know what was going on, I've been watching wrestling, AWA, WWF, Global, back when it was on like Sports Channel at 2 in the afternoon. I'd wake up at 5 in the morning and watch WCW Worldwide on Thursday mornings. So yeah, I've been a wrestling fan for a long time, and I always knew it was something I wanted to do from the time I first saw it.
So, G.A., you're a Massachusetts guy? You always been a Massachusetts guy, or you grew up here?
I grew up in Massachusetts, yeah. I lived in New York for a number of years later, but yeah, I grew up in Massachusetts.
Okay, so did you attended any of the local or even, WWF shows at the time as a kid?
Oh, yeah. So Doc Ozone, he was the ring announcer for UCW. They were running out of New Hampshire at the time, and they were on the WNDS channel. So I used to go to those shows every taping to go see him ring announce. And then as far as WWF goes, I went to a few house shows, and Survivor Series 93, that was a big event. Doc Ozone, his girlfriend at the time, they took me and my friend Brian to Survivor Series, so that was really cool.
Was that the one with Bret Hart with the brothers there?
Yes. The Hart family taking on the, what was it, the King's Court?
Yes. Okay. So, talk to us about later on that were you involved in sports? Did you play sports in school? How did that go about?
Yeah, I played basketball growing up, and then in high school, my senior year, I knew at that point that I really wanted to do wrestling. And so I quit playing basketball. I started focusing on weightlifting, getting in shape. And then when I went to college, I went to Sacred Heart University in Connecticut. And I joined the martial arts team there because I figured that would be something that would help me with my wrestling, especially being a smaller guy. At that time, I was thinking about guys like X-Pac and what they did in the ring. So I thought martial arts would help out a lot with that. And then while I was there at school, I met Johnny Heartbreaker because he was also going to school there at the same time. And he was already wrestling on the independent scene. So I got to go to some shows in the Connecticut area and see him wrestle. He was training with Kevin Landry, no disrespect to Kevin Landry, at that time I had never heard of him. The only wrestling school I had ever heard of was Killer Kowalski's wrestling school. And so I knew that's where I wanted to go. So once I left college, I went to Killer Kowalski's, and Slick Wagner Brown was the head trainer. And when I was in high school, I used to go to the NWA New England shows. So I saw him when he was part of the 2K Club.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh man, like Slick Wagner Brown, he was the trainer there. Killer Kowalski, I mean, the school speaks for itself. So I knew it was a place for me, for sure.
So you graduated college. Funny story. That Sacred Heart. That's near. Is that near like Fairfield, Connecticut?
Yeah. Yep.
Up that way. Because I know we wrestled there in the early 2000s. They had there was this huge, kind of like an arena type thing. And Joe Eugenio ran in there. We had a show in there in the early 2000s at Sacred Heart University.
I think I was there. Was Johnny Heartbreaker in the main event of that? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I know, we had wrestling there.
Okay, yeah, I think I was there because I only remember one show there, and it would have been around that time period.
Yeah. Yep, so, we wrestled in that school. So, funny story. I mean, at times everything comes full circle.
Yeah, seriously, small world.
Yeah, so, you decided right off the bat you were going to come up to Mass and train with Walter. How was that, first impression of finally pulling the trigger and saying, I'm going to go do this? What do you expected? Was it what you expected?
It was not what I expected at all. I expected it to, at that time I had read all the wrestling books and everything. You hear about like Stu Hart's Dungeon, and I expected it to be something kind of like that and that kind of atmosphere. But the first day I showed up, I will never forget this. I walked through the door, and in the wrestling ring is Eddie Edwards with neon green hair, and he's standing on the top rope dancing to Missy Elliott, Work It. And I was like, what did I walk into?
So different times. I know Blackheart's an alumni of Walter, and he was in a different class. I think, were you in class with Slick around that time or before? Blackheart?
Oh, yeah, my class, ironically, was Slick, Jason Rumble, Bo Douglas, Apocalypse.
Okay, yep.
So when you walk those I remember it was emerald green stairs. Do you remember those?
I do.
Isn't that like very humbling walking up those when you look at it now?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And even at that time, it was like, wow, like you think about all the people, you know, even though it's funny, at the time I didn't realize there were different buildings, but I still, you know, you think of it as Killer Kowalski School and all the people that have gone through there.
Yeah,
So-
no, it's definitely a lineage and a story. And what year was that?
I went in 2002.
All right, it's fine. That's what I was thinking offhand.
So, you mentioned, you know, Eddie Edwards, you know, dancing to Missy Elliott.
Yeah.
Obviously, you knew he's come a long way.
And yeah, he's definitely come a long way since then.
You talked about Slick. You know, obviously he's another guy that's been around forever. What was your first impression once you got to finally meet Walter?
Yeah, meeting Walter was really cool. I had met him when I was a kid at a wrestling show. It was a benefit show in Hudson, at Hudson High School. And so it was really cool to meet him, you know, all these years later and be like, oh, wow, this is the same guy I met at that show. And, you know, he's a legend, you know, in wrestling. And at that time, he was in his 80s. And, you know, he had the gravelly voice, but his grip was still amazing. I remember him shaking my hand, and it engulfed my whole hand, and it was just like, hey, kid, you want to be a wrestler? You know? And, you know, we talked that day. I watched the class, and then, you know, we talked pricing and everything. And I got up the money and joined, I think, 2 weeks later.
All right. So, how long before, how long did you train at Walters before you actually started going to shows and trying to get booked on shows and working your first match?
Yeah, I trained there for probably about 8 months, and before I did my first show. And at that time, I wasn't looking to get booked on shows. I really wasn't ready. However, and again, funny, bringing up Eddie Edwards again, he had a show, and he got booked for a better show that day. So he, doing the right thing, was getting the promoter a replacement. And so he called me up and said, hey, do you want to wrestle on a show? And I was like, I don't think I'm ready. And he was like, oh, no, you're definitely ready. And so I was like, all right. And at that time, I didn't have any gear. So I wrestled in martial arts pants, basketball sneakers, and a wife beater.
Okay.
And my very first match, it was me teaming up with Mike Bennett, taking on The Score.
Okay. Do you remember what promotion it was for? Or?
It was in Fall River. I think it was a backyard promotion or quasi, which is funny because if I tell you all the names on it, half of them have gone on to do much bigger things. But yeah, I remember, I mean, half the people on that show were really credible. Again, I teamed with Mike Bennett. We took on The Score. Handsome Johnny, he was on that show, now known as Ivar in WWE.
Yeah.
Who else was on that show? It was a lot of Slam Tech guys that were on that show.
I'm thinking that was a National Ring Grapplers show.
It was not them.
It wasn't.
It was not them.
wasn't
It was
the
before them.
That wasn't running by Guy.
No.
Or was that the one that was like, was it Jokers?
It might have been.
Was it the Place Jokers?
It was at a
Jokers
gym
Wild?
that had a basketball hoop.
Or was that UWF?
That I'm not sure. It definitely was not NRG. I know that,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a lesser known company.
I think that was that was one of these deals that they had separate to that you know the same guys actually used to go there and wrestle.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah. So you know that was your first match. Obviously, you know you go back and think about it now, knowing what you know and everything. How do you think you did in that first matchup?
Oh, horribly, you know.
Honest answer.
Yeah, oh yeah, honest
Nice.
answer. I was really bad for probably my first year of doing shows. I was actually, when I first started, I had a lot of charisma and really good at promos. So when I started working shows, I was in a tag team with this kid, Chris Sanguinetti. He would later go on to be the big man on campus later at Chaotic. But we first started as a tag team. We were the Solution. And the reason why we were a tag team was because he was really good at wrestling but didn't have much personality. I had a lot of personality, wasn't very good at wrestling, so we could hide each other's weaknesses.
Okay, makes sense. Chris Blackheart, you have anything?
No, I like it. It's funny how the story comes around because I didn't know that you were a Kowalski alumni.
Yeah, yep.
I had no idea. It's just funny how like you know people, but you don't have those conversations.
Right.
You know, and I
Kowalski's first Blackheart all these years.
say it again.
You didn't know GA.
I didn't. You know.
So
No, you know, the only thing I really knew is that Doc was an uncle, and I really didn't know if he was a real uncle or, you know, an uncle in the business.
Right.
You know, so.
Nope, real flesh and blood.
Yeah, no, this is what
Which there's been a lot of confusion about over the years, which of course it's wrestling and everything.
Well, family is tough to admit some things
Yeah,
that they
that
are
too.
yours. So.
Yeah, me and you, we were in some triple tags and we wrestled each other a bunch of times over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Back in UCW and all that.
Yep.
I actually got my black wrestling boots I bought them from him like 13 years ago. So.
Exactly. So again, talk about everything coming full circle.
yeah.
You know?
It's a weird circle.
So GA, you know, I know I met you when I met you going back. You know, you were a young kid with blonde hair.
Yeah.
Click brought you around, and that's the first time I kind of got to meet you. You know, I know it's going down a few years. How did that come about? You know, how did you ended up, you know, coming in obviously with Slick and then doing some work with Big Dave and doing the powerhouse stuff with us?
Yeah, all of that was actually through Zach the Ref, who he was pretty much my agent at that time. Most of my bookings were because of him.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, Zach, was the agent for a lot of guys. You know, he tried to get a lot of guys work here and there. So it's funny how everything goes full circle. He's another guy that we'll eventually have on the podcast here because we got a lot of stories. Traveled many years. Another one that I met when he was like 13, 14 years old. He used to travel with me. Definitely a heater. But
Big time.
he did have good intentions with the guys that he looked out for. So
Absolutely. You know, I can't say enough good things about him. He was one of my best friends in the business. Early on, he took a shining to me. I took a shining to him. And I think it was a great relationship because he was really good with people and I was not. So he could get the bookings and I had a car and was willing to travel anywhere and everywhere. So he and I mean, we went up and down the East Coast, down to Washington, D.C., Maryland, North Carolina, all sorts of places.
Yeah, and he loved your uncle too. He always wanted to see your uncle play music and all this stuff. So I remember is when he was into that. So talk to us about, you know, obviously you did that show. Obviously you moved on and worked for other places. Like you just mentioned, you guys took some trips. Talk to us about some of the people that you've worked for along these years.
Yeah, when I first got started here in New England, it was NEWA was really the first company to give me an opportunity. It was George Carroll and Quentin Michaels, and that's where I was in the tag team, The Solution. We won the tag belts within like 2-3 months of being there. We got a great push. We were given time on the microphone. So that was the first company to really give me an opportunity. And then after that, I had done a show for Kowalski, and he had booked Legion Cage, Sonny Roselli, and Larry Huntley from Maine on that show. And I was in a 6-man tag match. It was myself, Legion Cage, and Chris Sanguinetti, and we were taking on Larry Huntley, Sonny Roselli, and G.I. Job. And at that time, I really did not have much in my arsenal other than a drop kick. And we were in the back, and Sonny was like, you know, what can you do? And I was like, I've got a pretty good drop kick. And he was like, let me see you jump. And so I jumped up, touched the ceiling, and he was like, all right, that's what you're going to do in the match. And literally, it was just, I came in for the hot tag, drop kick, drop kick, drop kick. And I gave each guy one twice. And by the second go-around, rib was on me. Larry and Sonny knew they were pulling a rib. I wasn't getting nearly as high, so now I'm hitting like, you know, the belly button area on those last 3. But after that match, they talked to me and told me about they had a company up in Maine, NWH, New Wrestling Horizons, I believe is what it stood for. And they were running weekly shows in Buxton, Maine on Tuesday nights. And they were running regularly pretty much every other weekend in some part of Maine. And they offered me the opportunity to go up there, and that's really where I like learned how to wrestle, doing those weekly shows in Buxton. I would drive up. It would be me, Zach the Ref, Quentin Michaels, Gino Martino, and Dave Fournier. We would all pack into Quentin Michaels' van and drive up there to Maine every Tuesday night. And Gino, he just would impart so much wrestling knowledge and wisdom on the ride up and on the ride back. And, just doing weekly shows like that, getting those kind of reps in front of a crowd every week, that's where like I said, I really learned how to wrestle there.
So, that's an interesting point that you bring up. Now, we got a lot of students that we train at the school and stuff like that, and for the most part, they think that they should know it all from what we're teaching them at training. And you brought on an interesting point that you really learn how to work by cutting your teeth in front of a crowd and actually taking that opportunity to make those drives, long drives to Maine. I don't miss any of those.
Yeah. I don't miss them anymore.
And also listening to the guys that were already doing that, guys like Gino Martino, another guy that's been around forever. That was quite an interesting point. Chris Blackheart.
Ironically, we're talking about Franklin, about having guys been in the business for 20, 25, 30 years. I think that's one problem that is missing in the locker rooms. It's not a lot of veterans who've been there 10, 15, 20 years.
That's true.
A lot of young guys who think they know what's going on because they've been in the business 3, 4, 5, if they're lucky, a little bit over 5. So I think that is one element that is missing in the business. You don't have that veteran knowledge being literally dropped on people.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's a problem. And a lot of times you have younger guys dropping their knowledge, and it's not really knowledge, let's be honest, it's just not. It's things that they think, a lot of feelings. And just like in life, feelings has nothing to do with pro wrestling when it comes to that part of it. It's knowledge, it's traditions, it's stuff that's passed down, and it's constantly learning in this business. And I think that's frustrating too with a lot of the young guys, especially when they're learning, they think everything should be learned like here, and it's continuing. Sometimes you're not ready to learn certain aspects.
Oh yeah.
Or you don't absorb it to actually learn it until 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the line.
Yeah, for sure. And also sometimes too, it's like a language issue. I look at different religions, like a lot of them say the same thing, but in different languages. Mm-hmm. And I think wrestling can be the same way, where a lot of people are saying the same thing, but it's in a different language. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes you don't pick up on what's being said there. And so I know for me, I've trained at a lot of different places. And sometimes a lesson that I was supposed to learn at one place, I didn't learn it until I got to another place because it was like, oh, this is what they meant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. You just have to pick and choose and put it in your back pocket and, save it for down the line if you're not using it at the moment. But, we talked about Maine. I want to come back closer to home because I know even though, we travel and we try to get out everywhere, you always come back to like a home base, home promotion, somewhere that you call home. What was that place that you call home in the New England area in that time that you was cutting your teeth?
So at that time, I was pretty much a vagabond. After training at Walters for about a little over a year, the school shut down. So after that, I started training at Steve Bradley's school in New Hampshire. I was training there during the week, and I was doing, shows on the weekends, and pretty much just working everywhere: Connecticut, Massachusetts, traveling around to different places, wherever Zach wanted to go. I didn't really get a home promotion until a few years down the line when I started working for NCW, and they were, really the place closest to where I lived that gave me the ball next.
Okay, so talk to us about that. How did that come about? How did you meet those guys, and how did you go about making that NCW your home?
Yeah, so that was one where Zach the Ref introduced me to Tim Kilgore, and Tim Kilgore introduced me to JC Marks, who gave me an opportunity to come in and wrestle for NCW. There were no promises of anything. And at that time, I had, I traveled around a lot of places. I was wrestling locally. I was wrestling for UCW. I was wrestling in Maine. And it's funny to think back because at that time I was about 205 pounds, and I was considered a cruiserweight. In fact, I was the UCW cruiserweight champion for a while. Great feud with Tony Omega over there. And now, if you're that weight, you can be the heavyweight champion. What's that?
We wrestled for the cruiserweight title.
Yes, yeah, we did.
Danny, no one's buying that again this week.
No, we totally. Danny, he was doing flips and everything. It was a different time period.
Next going to tell me he was a Democrat back then.
200 pounds.
Danny was 200 pounds at some point. He
Yes.
was a little that, I think.
At birth, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I known Danny since he was under 200, just above
Yeah.
200. So it's been a long time.
No, definitely.
So yeah, that's another thing that's funny, and we talk about this all the time. The guys that are considered bigger guys now were considered smaller guys back then because we had guys that were 6'5". You had guys like Rick Fuller and Big Daddy Kapuna and all these guys that were 3 pounds, plus. And we were considered the smaller guys. So, it's like day and night the way the business is. And speaking of that, I know you still watch wrestling. You like to see the guys that are in the business. What are your views about the state that wrestling is now in comparison to when you were breaking in?
Oh, I mean, it's a world of difference. When you ask what are my views, do you mean like as far as the product on TV or as far as like how indies are?
Well, we could do both. We could do the indies here, the guys that you see here locally, guys that you've shared a locker room or seen, and then we could do national.
Yeah. So as far as on the indies and everything goes, it's funny, when I came in, the emphasis really at that time was on the look, because everything starts at the top and trickles down. And so for WWE, the emphasis was on the look. And so that's where it was on the indies too. So, at that time you had a lot of guys that were on the gas, really built up big. Even, like a guy like me was considered smaller, even though I was 200 pounds.
Yep.
So it's just a different time period in that regards. And then as far as in-ring talent goes, it's funny. I feel like that was the beginning of, I think it's called like the work rate era.
Yep.
It really was about like, all right, like how good can you wrestle? That's when Ring of Honor was starting up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that started changing the way the indies operated. It became more about being a good wrestler and less about the look.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a key point. You had the smaller guys like Amazing Red, the SATs, and obviously Homicide and all his group of guys.
Yes.
It was like and in a pack, they all train together, they all travel together, they all wrestle together. They made it together, majority of them. Definitely changed the game. But it's funny because when that transition happened about the, guys being the best in the ring, and that's how you would pretty much get booked if you were a solid in-ring performer. Now we're back to the days of, we're back to the days that, they don't focus so much on the in-ring skill. They focus on the look and the ability to entertain. It's more like they're looking for entertainers first and wrestlers. I mean, we wrestle, but we're, I think.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, again, everything trickles down. So WWE, that's what they want right now, and that's what they're selling, and that's what the people are buying. I mean, they're making money hand over fist. So.
Yeah, definitely different times there, and it's funny how things go full circle.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, I'm reminiscing when you're going back 05, and it is funny how you see everything does go WWE down.
It does.
And I'm thinking of guys on our roster going about weight. Like you can say about AZ, I think he just hit like 200 pounds, and it took him about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And back then he would have been like not even a cruiserweight.
Right.
But then you look at now, he's one of the bigger guys.
Completely.
So it's like, it definitely changes. But the fact that I'm trying to remember, like, I'm thinking like UCW. That means you were wrestling with Anthony or us.
Yes.
Like, I don't remember you there. Like, I do, but I don't.
I get it.
It's weird because.
But we never crossed paths. I think at that time you were a tag team, right?
I was tagging with him a lot.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of times the cruiserweights would wrestle the cruiserweights.
Right.
The tags would wrestle, because we had back then you would have 3 or 4 or 5 tags coming in and out of promotions, and you would have 1 or 2 legitimate tag matches. So yeah, and I like hearing the cross stories of, you look at the time frame. It's like, hey, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, we were in the same place at the same
Oh,
time.
so, all right, I'm going to ask a question, right? The Burning Hammer, right?
Yep.
You remember that?
I do. Burning Hammer and the NEI.
NEI, those were, and we all did it. You all went, oh, what's going on there? Where's that show? I got 500 views. Oh my God, it's going to be. I remember one promoter thought he was going to get 500 tickets. 500 people looked at his posts.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, talking about, that was the beginning of the Phantoms people that, they would all talk bad stuff about you. Oh, they can't find out who we are.
Right.
This is
the
way
anonymous.
before. Yeah, well, ironic, back then I think it was more just regional. You just have New
definitely.
England. So you could kind of tell in a way, like, who was writing what.
Yeah, based on what they were saying about.
Yeah, it's like,
everything.
oh, wait a minute, how did they know that story? They didn't know that story if they weren't in the locker room.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, so that was a classic.
Although I've got to give a shout out to the NEI because they one year ranked me as the number 2 high flyer in all of New England, and which was hilarious because I didn't do more than a drop kick.
And who was the number one?
So,
I guess
who
it
was
was
number 1?
I'm gonna say Frankie.
It might have been Frankie Armadillo.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking, who's the other Frankie kid?
Oh, actually, you know who I think it was? I think it was Kid McCausey. Was number 1 actually.
I can picture the kid. I know his first name's Frankie. I don't remember his last. I'm blanking his last name.
Frankie.
But I know he wrestled for NCW, smaller kid. But Frankie, let's go down Frankie Armadillo.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
I love Frankie Armadillo, like all the main guys.
Right?
Yeah. Who? Was it Frankie Arion?
Yes, that's what I'm
Oh,
thinking.
there we go.
That was what I was thinking.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it might have been him.
it's funny because NEI and the Burning Hammer in the difference between that and now, where you got all these fans that think they know more than the wrestlers, is that, and a lot of those guys that were commenting and talking crap were wrestlers themselves. They would just go in there and disguise their name. You have 1 or 2 fans, like the guys that used to go and take photos, like that guy Mike that used to take pictures. I think he passed away.
Oh, Mike Jass.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Him. Jack Diamond.
Yep.
Yeah. Dave Fournier used to go on there.
Yep.
What's the other guy? The Ghost.
Oh, yeah. Oh, everybody loved the Ghost.
Yeah.
I'm going to a show, and everybody would look. Do you know the
That was
Ghost?
another guy. He used to drive Fuller around sometimes, and we actually drove with him a couple times to New Jersey. Zach,
All right, let's put up.
go. Yeah.
What about the 4th Horseman?
I don't remember.
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
When you said driving Fuller around, that's what got me going on that one.
You know who I'm talking about? The short, big boned guy that used to go. He knew Fuller.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Todd.
Todd. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, Todd. I like Todd.
Yeah. What happened to Todd? Is he still around? Or?
I don't know, man. He used to just show up at shows, like, out of the blue, tell a story about, where Rick is, and picking Rick up and driving here. Always said hi to me. Said hi to, Kathy when we're running shows. So, yeah. If anyone knows the story where Todd is, either post it, send us a message, any of us on social media, it'd be interesting just to find out. It's always nice to catch up what people are doing.
Yeah. Well, Todd, him and I got into it at one show, and then, years later, like I said, Zach hooked it up for us to drive together to New Jersey and stuff like that, and we actually hit it off after that. We became cool. We were always cool with each other.
Nice.
So, yeah, he kind of disappeared. I don't know where.
Well, I think he kind of left when Rick kind of left. I think Todd kind of left with him.
Okay, all right. Well, going back to GA, so now you've been wrestling for a long time. You came back, you made NCW your home. Talk to us about, working for other promotions. How do you meet Chris Blackheart? Because I know you've worked for Showcase for a long time here too, and along with Ronnie Ribbs as a tag team.
Yeah.
Yeah, remind me how we found you.
So, in 2007, I left wrestling. I got a modeling contract, first with an agency in Boston, and then in 2008, I got a contract with an agency in New York. And that caused me to leave wrestling altogether. I moved from here, moved to New York. I did modeling full time for 2 years, and then I was too old at that. and I missed wrestling, so I wanted to get back into wrestling. At that time, I started training with the SATs in New York. So those are my TOs. Trained with them for a couple years, was doing shows out in New York. Came back to Massachusetts, started doing shows with NCW, and it was there that I met Ronnie Ribbs. He showed up for a show. He came to help out, set up the ring and everything. And at that time, I was doing the Simply God's Best GA West gimmick, and he was the Soldier of God, Ronnie Ribbs. And so we started talking, and we were like, wow, our gimmicks are very similar. So, maybe we have something here. So we decided we were going to try tagging, and we needed a place to let us tag. At NCW, I was doing a storyline heading into winning the heavyweight title, so they weren't about to let me tag there. And the first company to give us an opportunity was VCW, Bo Douglas and Jason Rumble. They gave us an opportunity. We did a match for them, and Ronnie had reached out to you, Blackheart. Mm-hmm. And I think he said we had been teaming for a while, even though we had only had one match under our belt at that point.
It was a couple of hours, it was a while.
Yeah, exactly. And so you gave us an opportunity next. Our first match for you guys was against Buddy Romano and Mike Pava as a tag team. And
that's when they would doing the Glamorous Express?
Yeah, something
like
that.
Was that in Taunton, or was that Woonsocket?
That was Woonsocket.
Yeah. I can picture on the stage Sarge doing that's when we had the stage on the left.
Yes.
Sarge was doing the promo, yeah.
Yep, exactly. And so that was our first time at Showcase, and then from there you guys started booking us at every show, and really were the place that gave us our run,
So you and Ronnie, obviously, you teamed up until a few years ago, basically, talk to us about some of the matches and some of the places that you guys went on to wrestle as a tag team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Showcase, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but Showcase was definitely our home and our best place. You guys gave us that epic run with the tag titles, setting a wrestling record, not just a Showcase wrestling record, but a wrestling record for the longest reigning tag champs, overtaking Demolition, overtaking the New Day, So, we had a lot of great matches at Showcase, working with the cool people. We had that great match at Marchiversary in Taunton, where the crowd was, just on fire for everything for that. And then we worked, we had a feud with the Wrestlers. We worked with them a bunch. We worked with Chad Epic and the teams that he would bring in, like the Middlesex Express and I was about to say the Freebirds, the Firebirds, And we worked a lot of teams for you guys. And then outside of Showcase, we went on to wrestle across New England for VCW. We did a lot of shows with them. We started wrestling in New York, Pennsylvania. We even went out to Indiana, wrestled for a company out there. Did a road trip one time, actually, with Showcase's own Brother Moon Revin. And that was quite an interesting trip, to say the least.
Wait, was that the Demolition Seminar?
Yes, the Demolition Seminar.
If you want to tell any stories of that?
I think the
we'll
only
be happy
ones...
to give you shovels.
Yeah, I don't want to bury anyone. It was really interesting getting to know Brother Moon Revin. That was my first time really being around him like that. But that was cool. I thought he was going to kill Doc Ozone probably 6 hours into the trip, because Doc Ozone needed to stop and smoke like every half hour. And so the rest of us, we were used to that, but for Brother Moon Revin, that was the first time having to deal with that.
He was not a cannabis participant.
No, definitely not a participant. Other than that, the only other story I think that's safe for air is we went there, we did the Demolition Seminar, which was really cool. We got to wrestle on the show, so that was pretty cool. And I believe Brother Moon Revin was in a Battle Royal if I recall correctly. And I can't remember the guy's name now. Congo, I think it is, or something like that. He'd wrestled for TNA for a little bit at that point.
Okay.
Big guy. And,
Congo Kong?
what is it?
Congo Kong?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
He was on the show. And I remember him and the promoter and one other person. They gave like a pre-match speech before the show, just putting everything over and everything like that. And I remember the promoter saying like he was going to be the Vince McMahon of Indiana. And but yeah, the show was really good, and that's everything I'll say about that trip.
Okay. Usually when a guy starts by saying anything, I'm gonna be Vince McMahon, you gotta get what you can take.
Yep.
As soon as you can, because that's just gonna flop easily, quickly.
Yeah, I don't think they're still running anymore.
Well, did they have a show number 2?
They definitely had a show number 2, but I don't think they had a show number 3.
Was that? I want to say Smash Wrestling.
That sounds right.
I can't remember. If it isn't, people in the car, please tell me. But I think that's what it was.
Well, there was a Smash Wrestling out here because there's a Smash Wrestling in Canada.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it was. I mean,
Yeah,
we're going back, 15 years maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so, or 13 years, so.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
All I could picture is Scott talking to himself. Like every time Doc wanted to stop, he's like, "Why is this fucking guy stopping again?" I can envision.
That's spot on.
All right, tell me this is it. Were you in a minivan?
Yeah.
I can picture it because I can almost remember the story, but I can't remember everything. I can picture him like balled up halfway with his head like pushed out, like one of the pushed out windows, trying to suck the air and complaining that he doesn't,
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Just talking to himself fine.
Maybe that's where the Brother Moon really
That's where he
started.
started that, yeah.
Yeah, because he
that might
couldn't
be.
breathe. He was sucking up the air, and
Exactly. And the poor guy was stuck in the back. I was up front with Ronnie, and so it was him and Doc in the back, and then Dante in the back.
GA, what were some of your favorite promotions to work for? From all the ones that you went to, what were some of your favorite ones?
All of them. Anyone that blessed me with an opportunity to wrestle for, I love them for that. But if I have to narrow it down, I would say the Luda School, the SATs, the shows that they ran. I got to work with great talent there. Guys that are moved on to do, Mike Santana. At the time, he was Mike Drastic. Angel Ortiz. Chris Cage, Mike Whipwreck, not Mike Whipwreck, Mike Whiplash, excuse me, and Papa Don, various guys. The Briscoes were wrestling there at that time. I mean, they were already well known from Ring of Honor, but yeah, they were wrestling there at that time. So I got an opportunity to work with great talent there. Another company here that I got to wrestle great talent was MWF, Millennium Wrestling Federation. And I got to wrestle Finn Balor with them. I wrestled Eddie Edwards, Kofi Kingston, a lot of great names. Danny Jax. So I loved working for them. Powerhouse Wrestling, they always drew huge crowds. So that was really cool. And I got to drive around a lot of cool talent thanks to Powerhouse Wrestling. That's how I got to drive around Samoa Joe. I drove Abdullah the Butcher. I drove Rick Steiner, so definitely, a lot of cool opportunities with Powerhouse Wrestling. You guys at Showcase have been great since we've been there. I would say at this point, Showcase and NCW, those are my two main companies and my two favorite companies.
Okay, so going back to the story about Abby, were you shocked when Abby spoke?
Yes, the high-pitched, soft voice there. And
I'm like, this is why he never spoke.
Exactly.
Would have killed the gimmick.
Yeah, it would have completely killed the gimmick,
Were you there after the show when we went to the Boulevard Diner, that cart that Satara used to bring us to eat?
Yes.
Yeah. Abby was packed in like one single seat of the freaking booth for himself.
Right, yep.
It was great times. Chris Blackheart, you're smiling, you're quiet. You know, let's get some questions going.
No, I like this telling. I like the stories. You know,
Yeah.
and people don't realize the value when you drive around some of the talent and the stories you can get. And
Definitely.
you know, I know when we've brought some national talent in, some of the guys is weird. The experienced guys will volunteer for it. Like they'll want the young guys like. It's like
They don't know any better.
I am giving you a gift.
Right.
You just don't know it.
Exactly.
You know, so yeah. No, but I like the fact that you look at, you know, your whole career and it goes around and then you're literally sitting here after X amount of time. And ironically, you know, NCW is running strong. We're running strong, you know, and, you know,
Not too many places can say that.
no, they can. And I think JC is slowing down a little bit.
Yes,
you know?
definitely.
And I think actually I'll give JC. I never give you a plug, but if I'm not mistaken, on Good Friday you're doing a show in Denham on the 28th.
Yes, Black Friday, WrestleFest, Dedham, Mass, 7:30 start time, I believe.
Let me tell you a story on that. I remember. You guys remember when Sheldon ran at Plymouth Memorial on the day after Christmas?
No.
This is probably, I don't know. I'm terrible on the timeline, but maybe 15 years ago, and it was terrible. It was. I don't know what the number was, but I never would run a show on that weekend because of that. Because I remember I always watch, you know, if people got killed,
Yeah.
you know, literally on shows. I remember that day, Sheldon got killed, and so I'm surprised JC is running. Maybe somebody with better luck.
Well, for JC, thankfully, they've got a solid fan base that goes to all of the Dedham shows.
Yeah.
And he runs it like kind of like a soap opera series where, I mean, this is the end of the season.
Yeah.
So it's their biggest show of the year. It's their WrestleMania. So they'll do fine. They'll get their normal crowd and probably an extra, however, 25, 50 more just because of what it is. And then they're not going to be around again until March of next year.
Yeah, no, he does take a lot of time off. I think it's for snow reasons in winter.
Right.
It is, winter, to me, winter is a great wrestle time, but it's also a bad time because you're fighting against the snow.
Right. You never know.
Yeah, you just don't. And we haven't canceled a lot of shows, but, I think we probably canceled 3 because of weather like that.
Yep.
So no, it is tough. But it's funny how we all run wrestling shows. We all have a formula that works for us.
Right.
So.
And it's interesting, actually, because even places that aren't that far from each other have completely different fan bases.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. So getting back to GA, I know Blackheart gets off topic.
What are you talking about?
Blackheart, what are some of your favorite opponents, guys that you've worked along the way, whether it's singles or tag team?
Yeah, my favorite opponent of all time would have to be Dashing D1000. He's a guy out of New York, and ironically enough, I wrestled him in Rhode Island for MAW, Mass Anarchy Wrestling, I believe is what the promotion was. And we had my favorite match of all time there. They gave us no time limit and just let us go at it. And he's very similar in size and style to me. So we were able to just have a really fun back and forth match. Other favorite opponents of mine, I'm trying to think. I mean, when Ronnie and I were teaming together, the Middlesex Express, we always enjoyed our matches with them. Those were a lot of fun. Kellen Thomas, one of my favorite opponents. I just think he is so talented, and honestly, I think he's underrated as far as the talent in the ring goes. Let's see. Yeah, I would say those would be like my favorites that I could easily be like, those are my favorites. And then otherwise, there are ones that are just cool that I get to say, like, I wrestled Finn Balor, I wrestled Kenny Omega, I wrestled Kevin Steen. Names like that are fun. Gangrel, Honky Tonk Man. So all those sorts of things are fun. It's cool to be like, Gangrel has slept on my couch a few times. Like, different things like that.
Okay, so I know you've been taking some time off. Are we getting into any of that, or
Yeah, I don't mind talking about that.
are we open into so going back to working for Showcase and having that run with Ronnie, and then taking a little break and coming back. Actually, you were coming back, and the plans were that you were coming back to get a run at the title that I currently have, which was the Sons of Liberty Championship. But then suddenly, life hits hard, and you just never know. And I stopped seeing you come around, which I thought, you said that you were taking some time off, so I figure it was like an injury, that you have gotten injured, and I didn't question it. But then come to find out, I'll let you do the talking on that, what happened during that time.
Yeah. So I was, like you said, I was on that run, and at that time I was having difficulty breathing on some of my matches, and I thought it was allergies. And I went to my doctor. We were doing all sorts of allergy testing and everything. Once we realized it wasn't allergies, I went to go see a heart specialist. We did, that cardio test and all of that stuff. All of that came back good. So then I was supposed to go see a lung specialist. And then it's funny, on October 28th of last year, I did an NCW show. It was a 5-way. And going back and looking at that match, like, I was not in it, like, mentally at all. And it's because I was having a really difficult time breathing. And then, actually that was October 24th, excuse me. And then it was the next Monday, I'd done a custom wrestling taping, and I couldn't breathe. And at that time I had noticed that my neck was all swollen. So I did a Google search, and Google said, if you can't breathe and your neck is swollen, you should go to the ER. I went straight to the ER, did a bunch of tests. I was in Concord, Mass, Emerson Hospital. Did a bunch of tests. They kept me overnight, and I'll never forget, it was about 4 a.m, and the doctor came to me and he said, you most likely have cancer. We have to send you to Boston for further testing. And they sent me to Boston Mass General. I was there for a week, and it was that Saturday that they confirmed for sure. They're like, yeah, you have Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was on the lung, stage 4, and it was just like, yeah, we've got to attack this now and take care of it.
Well, so just in a drop of a dime, you're wrestling, you got all these plans. You're actually doing a wrestling taping, and then you just end up in the hospital, and basically you were there for a whole week.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to explain, but for those watching, to put it in words, man, what were your thoughts at that time?
Yeah, when the first doctor at Emerson said it to me, I don't think it really registered. I heard it, but I didn't feel anything. I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, cancer, got to go to Boston, all right, but nothing registered at that point. But then, come that weekend, and they're like, yep, it's definitely cancer. It's stage 4. We're figuring out the game plan for attack. That's when it sunk in, oh wow, everything's about to change. I didn't know exactly how and in what way, but that's when I was like, oh, everything's about to change. And it wasn't until my first chemo session where I even had an inkling of an idea of how things were going to go. And then it was about 2 months into doing the chemo, so chemo has a cumulative effect. And so the more often you do it, the more it builds up in your system, and the more the side effects kick in. And for me, thankfully, I was in really great shape. And the doctor said, they were like, you're in great shape, so what we're going to do, we're just going to blast the crap out of you with this chemo. So I was going in for 5-hour sessions bi-weekly. And it was about 2 months into it where it really started hitting. And that's when the nausea, just not wanting to eat anything, and just, no energy, anything like that. At that point, that really kicked in, and it was just there was I was just on the couch all day, every day. And that, yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, and thank God, God always has a plan.
Yes.
Thank God you were in great shape, and you have gotten in great shape. You can't, like I said, you had taken that little bit of time when you broke the tag with Ronnie. Then you came back and you were in amazing shape. and we had the plans going, and then this hits you. But thankfully, thank God, you were in that great shape, and it helped you, fight this thing. You know, looking forward, and looking at positivity and stuff like that. Where are you right now when it comes to your battle with cancer?
Yeah, man, definitely thank God for getting me through all of that. So at this point, I am in remission, cancer-free. Going through the actual treatments and everything, I had also gotten blood clots, so that added to the complications. So I've been cancer-free since July, and then I got cleared of the blood clots as of October. So at this point, I am fully healthy. I'm still recovering. It's been an interesting, I'm compared to where I was a year ago, I'm still way weaker and everything else. So it's still, still a matter of kind of getting myself back. Before the diagnosis, I weighed 190 pounds. Right now, I'm about 165. So you put things in perspective a little bit, and this is I've put on weight to get to the 165 even. So yeah, it's still a process of getting back into things, but I am fully cleared. I'm working out again, I'm lifting weights again and everything, and looking forward to getting back in the ring at some point as well.
Yes, man, definitely glad to hear that you're in remission and that you're cancer free, and in Jesus' name we hope that that's the end of that. And you move forward from this and use that to encourage other people that might be going through the same thing, and put that word out that never give up and keep fighting and keep believing and have faith, and God will get you through the worst battles. So I'm definitely glad you're doing great. You're one of the good ones. Like I said, going back, it goes full circle. In the business, you meet different people. You meet people that are not so great, and you meet people like yourself. You've always been a kind guy. I've always spoke highly of you. Humble guy, good guy. So I'm glad to hear that, you're healthy and that you're in your path back to recovery, and hopefully we'll have you in the ring here soon in no time.
Definitely. And, I got to say, one, thank you for the kind words. And it's funny, this is my first time publicly really stating about going through cancer, so a lot of people didn't know. You were one of the few people, you, Ronnie, JC, and Richard Blake, I think were the only people in wrestling that I communicated with during that time period. But I do want to thank you, you were reaching out, and it was nothing against you, Blackheart. You didn't save my number in your phone, so that's the only reason why.
I literally got your number again from Ronnie. And even when I was talking to Ronnie, he kind of let it slip. This was a while ago.
Yeah.
And I said nope. And I said no. It's keep it private, but just let him know that if he needs something, we're here.
No,
so no, I totally respect the privacy. My question would be right now is, you kind of got a new lease on life.
No question. Not even kind of. Absolutely.
What is your, I don't want to say even goals, vision? What do you want now? Not just wrestling, but
life in general.
I hate to say, people are lazy on life.
Yeah.
And you almost got it taken away.
Yes.
How did that re-energize you to refocus you on fill in the blank?
Yeah. So what it did for me was it caused me to cherish my life. And so I'm a big fan of the Saw horror movie franchise. And John Kramer, the Jigsaw Killer, that's actually his motto, is cherish your life. And that movie got me through, that and the Jim Cornette podcast got me through a lot of what I was going through at that time. And coming out of it, it stuck with me, that concept of just cherishing your life, because you don't know how much time you have. And so at this point, I really want to help other people and help them cherish their life. So I started a YouTube channel. It's at Cherish Your Life. And on there, I have a daily not a TV show, I guess, but a daily show. It's called Push-Ups, Sit-Ups, and Plenty of Juice. And I give out, or I wouldn't even say I give out, I would say I preach about the Holy Trinity of fitness. which to me, for the Holy Trinity of Fitness, is a fit body, a fit mind, and a fit spirit. So I preach about that on that show daily, and then I also have weekly sermons on the channel as well. I do food reviews and things of that nature. So it's a wide variety of topics, but ultimately it's all about cherishing your life and just enjoying your life as it is. And if I can help other people, I'm a bit of a health and fitness expert, so if I can help people in that fashion especially, I like to do that. I'm getting back into personal training. I've been out of that for a number of years, but getting back into that now. I'm also trying to help out at the school at Showcase to give back in that fashion also.
I posted your links in the chat room and also in the description. And
Awesome. Thank you.
Real Deal Joe Davis says you're a stand-up guy. I mean, a class act, and he's a lot of respect for you.
Definitely appreciate that. Real Deal
And a
Joe
hot love
Davis.
from announcer Frank.
So one thing here is we'll see the links here. So that is for the everyday Joe,
Yep.
people who need a change in life, but especially is for the guys in the wrestling business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
That-
one of the things I know most
That a lot of
about.
times we don't get the formula.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that you are a wrestler, you know the business, you have the knowledge,
Yep.
you know, you put it all together. So yeah, if you're in the business and you want to turn the corner, if you're a young guy, old guy, you know, definitely reach out to GAOsirus. He's going to give you the direction.
Definitely.
Because really, you know your stuff.
Yeah, I've been
You know?
doing this since 1999. You know, I'm a certified nutritional counselor with the World Fitness Association. I was certified for personal training by the World Fitness Association, as well as by ACE. I've trained a multitude of clients over the years, and everywhere from Florida, New York, to Massachusetts, and now training in Rhode Island. I've got my own basement gym at my place in Cumberland, so people can come over there. I also do programming for people online. And for anybody that is in good standing at the Showcase Pro Wrestling School, if you do sign up for training with me, I will include nutritional counseling at no cost.
There you go. Definitely advantage of that.
Can you put a little, you tell me this is true,
Yeah.
eating is 80%, nutrition, workout is 20? Is that accurate?
For what specifically?
Well, that's a great question because somebody recently said, "Oh, you know, I just got to make sure I eat well."
When it comes to how you look, eating's going to be a huge part of it, for sure. But I mean, as far as how you function, working out is going to be a big part of it. I would say they're almost equal if you want to be maximum for both.
So probably the biggest thing I can say: break down, pay the money, use the resources that you have. This is a great resource, but some days you need the one-on-one counseling, the guidance to go, and also keep accountability.
Definitely. I would say more than anything when hiring a personal trainer, it's usually about the accountability. Most people, especially in the wrestling business, they know what they're doing to an extent fitness-wise, but they need that accountability, especially when it comes to nutrition, getting on point with a diet and everything else. I know a wide variety of styles of dieting. I don't believe in any one-size-fits-all, so I can work with anyone, whether you are vegan, paleo, all you do is eat McDonald's all day, I can still figure it out for you.
Well, there you go. Definitely something to take advantage of. We'll be linking your channel here, and we'll continue to put it up on upcoming episodes of the pod here. We're going to get into some plugs here real quick. Chris Blackheart, the clock is ticking. December 5th, it's right around the corner. Are you ready for Seasons Beating 6?
Well, I'm not going to give you the game plan, but yes, I am very comfortable in the members for our team. And has everything, it is a gamble. You know, we'll put everything on the line to get everything back to normal. You know, I made a speech in Franklin that this may be the last time that I'm in Franklin as the owner.
And they actually cheered when you said that.
Well, some people did, some people didn't. Paula didn't. Just let you know, Paula Rocha.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully if I do lose, the new management will kick you out, Paula. Because maybe we should have done that 17 years ago. But
Oh,
no.
don't do that to Paula. That's
well,
my girl.
I know, but she was booing me. Can you believe that?
I can't believe she was.
Yeah, I know. That's what I
my
said.
girl.
But
I'll talk to her about it later.
Yeah, but no, but I think the idea is, is a big day. We have Blackheart versus Cena on the teams. We're on the ownership of Showcase Pro Wrestling. We have the Jay Evans and Annabelle wedding, which is huge.
Here's the invitation right there.
You're allowing that, Chris Blackheart. See, this is why.
What, the wedding?
It's needed in this. You're allowing a guy to marry a dog, not a wrestler.
Listen, it is. Listen. In some states that Danny goes to, quite frankly, like Indiana, they allow a lot of different things.
2025, right?
Yeah.
Well, mostly got cattle over there, but hey, we're talking about dogs.
Yeah, but those tickets are online at showcasewrestling.com. We have a Q code on there. You'll see going around with our new ticketing partner, Sports Thread. You can just take a picture of the Q code. Really easy to buy advance tickets, for all the shows that are coming up. And then we'll make an announcement next week. We have an event. Now I'll leave that one go, but then we have one on the 13th back at the Showcase Pro Wrestling Arena.
Oh, don't go ahead of yourself, Chris Blackheart. Next week when we come back here, you better have your team set.
Yeah.
Announce the matchup, and to go on.
Well, we have to have a podcast meeting because it will be Thanksgiving. So we got to find out: are we going live? Are we gonna go pre-tape? Are we gonna go early?
I already talked to Cena earlier today. We'll figure it out.
No, Cena has nothing to do with the podcast. Nothing to do with the podcast. There's a contract between me, you, and Badandi.
You guys want to do the show Wednesday?
With the match with Blackheart. We're announcing the match here.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with him.
Get your team together.
No, that's fine, but Cena's not going to dictate the podcast.
How about you do Wednesday night?
What's that, Danny?
Danny wants to do it on Wednesday night.
We can announce the
We
matches.
could do a Thanksgiving Eve special edition. I mean, it doesn't make a difference whose Blackheart's team's going to be. We all know the outcome of this. Like I said, Osiris, we've known each other for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So you know how dirty he is some days. I know he's dirty because when I ran with him, we weren't very nice.
But was that your influence on him?
Oh, I made it worse. There's no question about that.
Don't pay attention to MGA. But anyways,
we're like diesel and gasoline. You put it together and put a little match, forget it. Everything was burning down.
So he was using me. What type of friend is that?
No. We clicked really well by putting mayhem everywhere we went.
Well, speaking of being a good friend and a true friend.
Oh, yeah. The true friend was stabbing in the back, not just once, but twice.
You gonna let me finish, Chris? Jesus Christ. I offered him a job even when he loses on the 5th. We still need the ring to get set up. We need the floors clean. We need the bathroom clean. I mean, honest job, Chris Blackheart.
Hey, work is work these days.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with a hustle, but.
Well, I'm glad you know that, Chris Blackheart. Nothing wrong with a hustle.
Just remember, it's good enough for me. It's good enough for you. So. Scrub-a-dub-dub, I'm sure you'll look good cleaning a toilet too.
Oh, you're offering me a job this week?
But, Danny, can you clean that stuff in the studio?
You're offering me a job if I lose?
I would think I need a vacation from you first before I even think about that.
What a nice guy. What a gentleman, Chris Blackheart.
Wow, speaking of jobs, why don't you bring up the real deal, Joe Davis? Tell us where Joel's going to be.
Where in the world is the real deal?
Oh, he's everywhere.
I believe he's going to be in Worcester and Wartown coming up. Danny?
Yep, the 20-spot comedy. It's 43 Pleasant Street in Worcester. And the 7 p.m. show time at 8 p.m. So get there at 7, get some drinks, some food, and watch the show at 8 o'clock. He's got him, Kyle Cody, C.W. Davis, Pops Buster, Hip Darian, and Letitia Hughes. So mega star line up there, and also check out Wrestling with Comedy, Joel Davis's brand new podcast. Go to his YouTube channel. We're gonna pin that in the chat room too with Joel's channel. So go check it out. He covers MMA, wrestling, comedy, all kinds of entertainment stuff. And as you all know, he was a star twice over at Jerry Springer with yours truly, Chris Blackheart there. Mr. Jerry Springer, man.
Chris Blackheart, didn't you get And you got screwed over in that.
I can't talk about that. It's a very emotional time in my life.
It just seems like that. See, we talked about it today, and it makes sense. Everything goes full circle. Now you got screwed over in Jerry Springer. On the 5th of December, you're about to get it all over again. I just don't understand. You just have bad luck.
Because every 25 years, something bad happens.
I guess so.
All right, so that means I'm dying at about 78 then? Okay, that's not bad.
That's
All
not
right.
bad.
Not bad. I'll take it, 78.
You think Kathy's going to allow you to be hanging around with them things dragging the floor?
Think she'll allow me to live to 78? I'm not sure about that one.
I don't know, man. You might die of, asphyxiation or some shit.
Oh, well, let's not talk about their personal life.
Yeah.
We won't get into that here today.
Yeah.
What's the time? Because I can't see. I'm looking at the.
We're running late. It's 10:12. Danny, you want to do any last minute anything on the chat we should address or?
Just Joel Davis and Nancy Frank saying hello and whatnot, and good stuff, and commenting with the broadcast tonight. So good stuff tonight.
Any last words? Anything you want to get out there? Obviously, you mentioned your new YouTube channel. Once again, for everybody that's watching, your social media and all the stuff, so they can keep track with Osiris GAOs.
The YouTube channel, again, it's at Cherish Your Life. I'm also on Instagram. I've been inactive, but I will get active on there again. That's Osiris, OSIRUS _ the God. And then if you're interested in personal training, definitely send me an email, Osiris, OSIRUS, the champ, @gmail.com. Shoot me an email over there. We can definitely get something going. And again, if you're in good standing at the Showcase Pro Wrestling School and you do sign up for personal training with me, nutritional counseling will be thrown in for free.
And that's keywords, in good standing.
Yes.
Well, there you go, GA, man. It's great having you. We'll do this again. It's great having you on.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for sharing and trusting. And I'm so glad to be having this conversation and having you here healthy and on the way to get back on track.
No, definitely. Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been an honor.
So there you have it, Chris Blackheart. For tonight, that's all you have, right?
That's all we have. We will post it online if we're going live on next Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. So always check out SP Wrestling on all the social media.
Yep. We'll talk to Cena about that to clear that. But for now,
you don't need to talk to Cena about clearing anything on the pod. It is separate.
SP Wrestling, all your social media, showcaseprowrestling.com. Go see the poster for Seasons Beating 6, December 5th in Taunton, Massachusetts, where Blackheart's going to become 0% owner of Showcase Pro Wrestling. And for now, for this week, that's all we have. So for Dan Badandi, for Osiris in the studio, Don Vega, and Chris Blackheart, still 70% owner. For now, we will see you right back here next week in the